Okay, another voice on the subject of racism and everything we're seeing right now in America. And I know I'm just another voice. There's a lot out there. But I just have, for a while now, just this burning desire and vision for what we can accomplish. And I'll say even up front that I'm actually excited about what's happening right now, because it means that all the stuff is coming to the surface and we need to deal with this. We need to let it sink in, let it be painful, let it be what needs to rise so that we can move on and really heal our land. And I'm so hopeful that future generations are not going to deal with this anymore. And so I just wanted to share my journey as a white woman in America and where I stand now and how I see things. I've noticed that on videos and social media, when people express their heart and their opinion, their view, that it can be dissected and ridiculed, and we lose focus of the spirit of what is being said. So if I say a word or a phrase that offends or you don't like, I guess I'll apologize up front. It is not to intentionally harm or offend. But I think we often hear and we just are looking for ways to justify our thinking. And so we cling to that and decide, you know what, I don't like what this person is saying. It doesn't line up with how I feel or see things, and so I'm going to attack it. And that's fine. I know I'm not going to be agreed with 100%. But remember, when you listen to things and listen to people's heart, you find the spirit of what is being said and not every word that is being said. So I will try to not make this too long of a video, although I feel like I could preach. If you know me, you know that I am in a biracial marriage and have a biracial family. I was raised in an area, northern Seattle area, where I went to schools that had a lot of diversity. However, my family itself never saw a person of another color in the family. I was the first one that had a person of color in, again, I might have just offended by saying that, in their family. However, I've always had this draw to understand and find unity within our cultures. Not just African American and Caucasian, but all of them. Indian, Chinese, all of it. His Mexican, Latinos. But I've especially drawn to the African American community. And Africa itself. We've been to Africa, parts of Africa, and we went because I've always had such a strong draw for Africans. So, anyways, more than what I meant to say here, but my husband actually serves on a diverse panel, and I cannot tell you where he works at, but it's in the Portland area. And so in his work, we discuss at home a lot about diversity. Diverse religions, diverse sexual orientation, skin color, all of it, right? And he has to wade the waters of diversity. And so it was a little over a year ago that he came home and we started discussing white privilege. And I was offended. and told him how that comes across to a white person, how white privilege is also offensive to the white race. And so we need to maybe think about using other words, because that makes me very uncomfortable to hear that. And so we've been dialoguing about this for a while now, and that was just one occasion. We've talked many times since then about the same topics. And over the course of time, my view is changing, and especially everything we're seeing now, I want to deal with white privilege. Here's what I want to say is I feel like why this is hard for us as a Caucasian American is because we don't associate with racism. We don't feel like we are living in the 1960s or 70s. We were not the ones who brought over slaves and have abused Black people in this way, most of us. And maybe I'll speak for myself, okay? But I think I speak for maybe a lot of people. We disassociate. We don't understand. And we feel like it is not fair to put what has happened in the past on us now because we didn't do it. I personally have never done those things. We watched the movie Just Mercy this last weekend, and I honestly, this is just my honest feeling. It was hard for me to watch because it felt so unreal. And I kept saying to my husband, is this real? Because I'll be frank, it almost felt like a made up story. And I was like, I've never seen this. I've never been a white person and how those white people were. I've never been associated with white people like that. I've never actually seen people that are white treat people that are Black that way. And I've never experienced what those Black people were experiencing. So part of me was like, this is real? This is what has happened? This is what's happening? Like, was this made up? And we almost, I feel like as a white person, want to go, that can't be real. I didn't do that. I'm not doing that. That is 1987 or whatever the year is. That's the South. That's not the West Coast, wherever you live. And so we disassociate ourselves and we decide that it's wrong how Black people are feeling. That they're wrong, we're right. But here's my message, is that I feel like we need to acknowledge what has happened. There is more than one story about the oppression that Black people have experienced. They have experienced oppression, and we need to come alongside them as a brother and a sister and lift them up. We need to see them as our equal and as loved and as strong and as capable, and give them our friendship and our time and our understanding. And this means that we need to let ourselves hear their pain and feel the discomfort that they have felt, to treat it as truth and to realize it may not be your truth, but it's theirs. And anytime we see an oppressed person, and I especially am calling out followers of Christ, when we see oppressed people, we should be the first to extend our hand and listen and to have compassion and empathy. The ability to have empathy right now is so important. I have never mistreated a Black person intentionally, at least, not blatantly, and have never been part of a white group that has. But that does not mean they don't have a story and that what they have experienced is not true. And so I would like to call out white people to quit finding narratives that support how you've always thought, because it's not serving us and it's not going to serve our future. If we keep just finding messages and people that support how we already think, then we will never humble ourselves and take the road less traveled, which is I'm going to lower myself and listen and understand and be part of who you are, even if I didn't do the crime. Even if I am not that person that has hurt you, I'm going to stand as though I was. And I feel like that's the first step. This is all we need to do is quit finding narratives online, whatever, that already do not offend you. If it doesn't offend you, it probably shouldn't be listened to. It means it's what you already think. And we need to be offended for a while. We need to feel the pain. We need to accept and acknowledge that they are feeling pain. And if we carry Christ's love, we should care about that. Period. We should just care about that. And I have been through the whole journey of being offended by terms like white privilege and not seeing myself as more privileged. And starting there, married to a Black man and very familiar with the culture, but still not seeing the error of how I think and feel and the spirit in which things are happening. So I'm calling out Caucasians. I identify, I acknowledge how you feel right now. It feels as though shame is being put on you, that your voice now isn't being heard or whatever. But you know what? Right now is not the time. Right now, your voice doesn't need to be heard. It's not about your offense right now. And I related this to my husband this morning. I felt like it was just kind of a timely word. It's like in a relationship or a marriage. When two people are fighting, both feel hurt. And both feel like the way that they were hurt is the right way. So when my husband hurts me, he has hurt me. He's offended me. And I only want to prove that he hurt me more. But he's probably feeling also pain and offense. And so we can go around and around about who's more hurt, right? Who's more offended here. But the Christ way of doing this is actually to go, you know what? You're hurt and you're offended. I want to hear why. I want to understand your heart first. And let me address that. That's what Christ would do. I believe that that's who Christ is. He laid down his life. He first submitted to the oppressors and wanted to listen to them. And so this is our time. If we really feel like we are not racist, if we feel like we are not bigots, that we love all people and that we see Black lives mattering, if that's who you say you are, then this is a call to say, well, then humble yourself and acknowledge the pain that they are wanting to express. Give them a voice and a way to be heard. Quit shutting them down by putting out videos and statements about all lives mattering, or I hate the term white privilege, and all these things that we become offended by. Well, we offended them first. And I feel like this unfortunate whatever, but look at it as an opportunity rather than as unfortunate. This is our opportunity to make right for what our ancestors did. White European people came over to America and took over indigenous people's land. We killed them, we came over, and we took their land. Then we took slaves and brought them over to America and had them work for free and abuse them. And since then, it's just been what we know in history. What if now it is our time to apologize for what our ancestors did? Yes, I didn't personally do it, but we did the first offense. And so let us humble ourselves and make right with this so we can move on. And there will be greater unity and a beautiful unification on the earth if we would quit saying, you're wrong, I'm right. You're wrong, I'm right. You're left, I'm right. It doesn't matter. Love. We need to love like Christ loves, and he would submit himself and humble himself and give himself to those who are oppressed. So this is on my heart. So much so that I did not put makeup on or comb my hair to do this video. I just needed to speak it out. Bless you, and take courage in being willing to let your heart be known, and really the fruit of what is in your life and in your heart. Take courage in that. There is better things to come if we let ourselves.